All right, we're live. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Mike here, and today is the third official P&L report. If you guys are new to the show, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, assuming there's no holiday like last week, George and I do a live show where we talk about different business topics just to kind of help the community out, talk about the way we do things, and hopefully give you some insight on how you can improve your business and selling online. Say hi, George.
How's it going, everybody?
So today we're talking about organization, kind of the process we go through when we get merchandise in, and how you can improve your system to be organized so you can, get your stuff together for tax season every year really easily, work efficiently, and not have a lot of issues people have when they end up with a bunch of merchandise like that not listed. So the first thing I want to go over is the process that we go through. I have a very specific process every time I get something in, how it goes, and kind of the apps or tools we use to make that process possible. So, like, I know Georgia started using it as well. Probably the best investment I ever got for organization was the point of sale system I use. It's PHP point of sale, and I think it's $200 now. And what's the monthly price, George?
29.99.
Okay, so the price went up quite a bit. When I first started using it, it was like $10 a month. But my entire process is based around getting merchandise in, getting it, the price and cost into the point of sale system, and printing barcodes for it. So the typical process would be going thrifting or garage sales or wherever I may go. When I get the merchandise into my building, I then sort through it. So like if I get a lot of video games, I will filter out any garbage, anything that's damaged, and I will put it in what I call extras, and those will get sold in lots as broken or for parts. And then I take everything that I purchased as a lot and I average the cost on it, which a lot of people don't do. Like George, when you get stuff, you individually price each item or
Yes.
okay, and that's pretty typical unless you're dealing with a lot of stuff. So like bulk. And so like if I bought 20 things from a thrift store, I would average the price amongst them and I would print up barcodes, clean them up, and get them ready for listing. I'll photograph them, and then a lot of stuff goes in poly bags with barcodes on it, or like even the bear. If you look at the bear, it has a barcode on its stomach. So, and then I will just take that stuff when it sells, scan it in my system, put the sale price, and it'll keep track of how much profit I made. George, like, how do you keep track of your sales? Do you use anything besides the point of sale, or?
Yeah, I use the point of sale, and I also use Outright on eBay. It helps me to manage all the money that I spend because when you link it to your bank account or your PayPal account, you can keep track of everything that you sell. So basically, I use my business card to make all purchases, unless it's from a yard sale or something like that. Then I'll have to enter it in manually. But as long
Yeah.
as I'm using my PayPal card, my PayPal business card, then it all is kept track on Outright,
Okay. I
or
think,
now it's GoDaddy on eBay. But
yeah, they bought outright.
yeah, so as long as I'm using my PayPal card, it keeps track of everything, and I don't have to make sure that I do keep the receipts, but I don't have to pile them up and put them in manually, and that's what I like. Unless I just happen to not use my PayPal card, or anything of that nature, whether it's a cash purchase or something like that. Even things that you buy online, you can use your PayPal card. You can just use your PayPal, the credit card number that's on it, just like you can any other card. So it's a really good advantage I use to use the PayPal. I use PayPal here, and as well as their issued debit card. PayPal here is, if you're not familiar, is a program on your phone that you can use to accept credit cards. So if you make a local sale, well, and this kind of ties into tactics of selling too. What is one
Yeah.
common thing that people say? Well, I only brought $50, even though you're asking 65. Oh, that's okay. I take cards.
Hey, you're like my worst enemy. That's what I always say. I only brought $50.
And then whoop, you pop out the little card reader, and you say, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. I take cards." And then they can't pull the no cash excuse.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think that's probably a good point is like using a specific card for business purchases. Probably the single best thing you can do to organize your transactions is absolutely get a business account. I have Huntington and there's no extra cost. There's no monthly fee. It's like a personal account, except it has my business information and everything business goes through it. So I know if some money's missing or if there's issues. And that kind of ties in towards the end of the process. But for the first part of the process, mine is very streamlined. I really just get stuff in, I hustle it out, get it photographed, get barcodes on it, and then it goes on shelves like that. And I don't have any issues till I sell. I just scan it and put the price in. Now I understand like people who are starting out can't afford all this equipment. They might not have scanners and barcode printers and all this stuff. So that's why I'm going to talk about the process a little bit and what people can do to help themselves. Um, I wish we would have done it a few weeks ago, this episode, so people can use it for tax time, which is ends in what 3 days, I think. And
yeah,
one of the main issues a lot of sellers have is they procrastinate. So they throw all of their receipts in one box, and then at the end of the year, they're like, "Holy shit! There's this giant box of receipts. None of them are organized by date. They have no idea what to do with them." And my whole philosophy on business, I think this will help a lot of people, has to do with me being a chef. And the whole idea behind it is mise en place, which is French, a French term that we use in the kitchen. And we would say, get your mise en place, which means basically everything has a place. You're putting stuff in its place. So what you do is like, say I'm making a soup and it has vegetables in it, right? I cut every vegetable and put them in little containers. And then when I go to make the soup, I have everything laid out there. And that's kind of just the same way I run my business. Every month when I get receipts and purchases, they go in this bin in order. And then at the end of the month, I pull them out and I put them in a binder with that month on it. And I do that for everything: eBay transaction receipts, Amazon transaction reports, And for me, what I learned is managing things in small bunches and keeping up with them every month saves you a ton of time and really helps you out. So, like, you've never even done business taxes yet, right?
well, yeah, I've paid sales taxes and whatnot, but this is the first time I'm filing both personal and business sales tax for the year.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean the sales tax are separate, but yes.
Gotcha. So for like me, my first couple of years I did my business taxes, they took forever. And now I do my own taxes every year. And like I told you, is my taxes took 2 hours to do, including my personal and business taxes. I did them myself and I had everything in a binder. I just flipped through it and put the numbers in. It was like the simplest
Yeah.
thing.
What program did you use to file?
I use TurboTax, and then I think the business one is like $140 after everything, which
Yeah.
includes your personal and state. And I think like if you keep track of things monthly and you handle it in small amounts and everything has its place, you have folders for things, it becomes so much easier and you don't have to go through a box with receipts for 5 hours to figure
Yeah.
out how much you spend on something. The other thing I
I
want to talk
really like
about,
about electronic transactions. It's all kept right there, and especially you want to have a separate business account in your bank too. I know a lot of people, or I've heard that a lot of people start out just keeping it in their personal bank account, but you have
yeah.
to have you have to have your own separate business account, and that's one of the very first things I did when I started my business. And you have everything separated. So
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And when I first started, I did combine the two and I had the hardest time doing my taxes. Like it was driving me up a wall because I couldn't figure out what I spent on personal things and business things. And if you really get a big business, it helps to have a separate Amazon account for purchasing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because like I buy through Amazon for personal and business use. So you need to make sure you know which transactions are for what. Because if you don't
right.
have them separated and you do get audited and you got a bunch of personal transactions mixed in with your business, people are going to be, or not people, the IRS can be like, all right, this is not right. Be
Not
like,
just
what
any
the,
person.
you didn't buy, why are you buying Taco Bell every day of the week in your business?
Well, I mean, if
So
you're out sourcing and you buy Taco Bell, that's a business expense.
true, but you can't go overboard. There's a limit to what
Right.
you can. If you're eating every night at a restaurant and you're saying it's a business expense, they're gonna be like, all right, really? You needed sushi 7 nights in a row? Like what? Um, So I think it's really important to get a process in place. Whatever works for you. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone has different equipment. But the basic things you can use to keep track of things simply are like these I paid $4 for, like 10 of them at Target, and they're cheap as hell. They fold up, but like they're the best thing ever. I literally print out an invoice or have a receipt and I just throw it in there and I forget about it till the end of the month. Then I organize them all and I'm set for that month. I throw it in the binder, it's done. A file cabinet is a must. Just get one, and you can file your monthly information, your yearly information.
Yeah.
But
I
probably
still
my
have
favorite
this.
item for organization is something most people don't have, but you can get them online. And it's from the kitchen. Hopefully, you can see that. It's called a fish tub. And the reason they're called that is because when they ship fish to restaurants, they put them in these waterproof tubs. They're about $5 a piece, which isn't a lot, actually. The top seal is completely waterproof, and I have like 50 of them I ordered before I left my last job. And I use them for everything. So like I'll put a label on the side, it'll be like PlayStation 1 controllers or video game manuals for this. And then every extra item I have is organized into these. I just throw them in there and you don't have to worry about them getting damaged. It just keeps things in the place.
Yeah.
Now, like, do you want to talk about like when you get shoes in, what is your process, the whole process down the line?
All right. So sometimes I'll go out sourcing specifically for Amazon, and it's kind of hard to do that, and most of the time I don't stick to it because I'll find shoes. I'm like, oh, I have to get these because even though I know that I've been slacking on listing things on eBay, like I feel that if I'm not listing things, I don't need to be going and buying more stuff because I know that I have things here that I need to list on eBay, and I'm just adding to the pile. But sometimes, everyone gets that feeling. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't pass these up. I have to get them, right? So one of the first things I do is when I come home and I have um, usually a big tub full of stuff that I have in the back of my truck, but I bring it all in and I separate everything that I'm going to list on eBay and that I'm going to list on Amazon FBA. Some of it I know is incomplete stuff, and we are kind of talking about this before the show. Um, that I'm some things I can't pass up, even though they're incomplete. I know that I can sell them on eBay, so I get them in. For example, was this Garmin Nuvi? It didn't have any. It didn't have the charge cord, and it didn't have the part that is actually held to hold the Garmin up on the windshield. I forget what that's called. The mount. There you go. There's
Yeah.
the word. It didn't have the mount with it either. So I won't be able to sell it on Amazon FBA, but I can list it on eBay. And even with just that, I can sell it for $100. So of course I didn't pass it up, especially at the weigh-in pay for like 50 cents, right? A quarter
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. It's
Do,
like 3 ounces. But so first thing I do is, like I said, I separate everything, eBay and Amazon, and then I get everything from my e-belt. Once I do list it, it goes in these tubs that are right behind me, um, and I document where it's at in the point of sale system so that when I do make the sale, I put it in as a sale, and then I can pull up that particular item and see exactly which bin I put it in. And
okay.
every code that's on the bin is uh, identifiable, so you know which bin it is, and at the same time, it's a location. The numbers that I use are a specific location, like shelf one or shelving unit one, um, and then shelf A, B, C, D, which is the vertical shelves, right?
Okay.
And then which box, which is either one or two, because there's only two
Uh,
boxes. Other than, I don't know if you can see those three uh,
the little ones.
there. Yeah, so those little ones, they go up to, looks like one, it's going to be 1B1, 1B2, or 1B3, and on the other shelf, it's 2B1, 2B2, or 2B3. So it makes sense. It's very upfront. I mean, well, like I said, whenever I put it into the point of sale, I see exactly where it's at, and I can go directly to the box. And on top of that, it's expandable. All I have to do is add, if I want to add another shelf, now I have shelf 3, row A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. and I can do that forever.
And how do you want to talk a little bit about where you got the tubs? How much did they cost you?
I just got the tubs. I ordered them on Walmart.com, and they actually ended up not sending them to me correctly. They only sent one, and I had one order of 10. The listing was for 10 tubs, and they sent me just one tub, and they said, well, if you keep ordering it, they're just going to keep sending it to you like that. It has something to do with it being on the computer. I don't know, whatever. Not important. They refunded me, and I just collected those tubs every time I went to Walmart. They would only have 3 or 4, so I got them all within like a week. But
Okay.
yeah, I did what fit on the shelves and what would work for me. So I think it was like $100 investment total for the tubs and those black smaller tubs. The ones on top I already had. And the
And how much
shelves.
did the racks cost you? Because those are nice wire racks. Like mine are
Yes, they
plastic.
are. And I paid $60 for both of them used on Craigslist.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I think these were like 30 something dollars a piece at Home Depot. And I have, mind you, they're a lot taller than yours. I think they actually mine go like 6 levels high or 7 levels high. But I have like 5 sets of those. I have so many. There's some that aren't even at my house right now. But
Mhm.
shelving is probably one of the best investments I ever made for organization.
Absolutely.
And mine used to be labeled like yours, how you have the number and letter system, but I changed it once I got the point of sale and I ran it a lot different. I kind of use very similar to what Amazon does, which is like chaotic storage. If I get a lot of stuff in, I'll start putting locations on the shelving and just like mark it quickly with the items so I know where to look, general area. But
Mhm.
I kind of sort things from when I get it in. So like this will be one day, then the next day the stuff will go here, and like I'll go in line. So if I usually remember when I got something. I don't have it sitting around for like 6, 7 months at a time, and then it's pretty simple for me to go through it. That's probably the least organized part of my whole system. For me, I concern much more about making sure I have track of the numbers because if I think the numbers are really important, right? Like if you know how much you're spending on stuff, you know how much you're making, and you can go in your point of sale or whatever system outright and see exactly if you're making money or losing money for the month. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't worry about the numbers till the end of the year or whatever." Like that's not okay for me. I think I would rather micromanage the numbers so I can get in there and change things and tweak things to better benefit my business.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've been trying to improve lately. One thing that I didn't particularly like is that I wasn't keeping track of exactly how much I paid for any particular item. And earlier, Mike, you asked me if I average the cost per item, and I
Yeah.
said no that I do, but I do that, and I just answered incorrectly. I think I misinterpreted. I was thinking whether I was thinking about the point of sale system where you put everything in at one time or one item, like what you were telling me about. How you put it all, like you bought 50 things, you paid this much for each, and so you have 50 items of this particular
Yeah.
number. Yeah, that's what I was. For some reason, that's what I was thinking that you asked, and I didn't.
Basically, what I'm saying is if I buy 10 items for
But
$10, right? And
right, so
say,
it's $1 a piece,
yeah,
even though
no
it's
matter the cost of the item.
$5 for one item and like 50 cents for the others. But yes, I do that. I'll average the cost per purchase or per receipt. So I
Okay.
got like 7 items and I paid 50 cents for each one or something like. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it
I
helps
do
simplify it.
average the cost like that, but I list my items individually in my point of sale system because
Oh,
that
okay.
ties because that ties into the location of the shoe or any other particular item and exactly the cost and payout for that shoe in particular. Because yeah.
For me, like if I get a group of items, say from Walmart, right? I'll take the receipt number, whatever it is, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll put it in the point of sale system as Walmart lot number, and then I'll put the receipt number. I'll put the items with the average cost, and they're from that lot. So I sort by a lot. And the reason I do this is because I get a lot of lots of video games, and it's very hard to like, if I get a lot of video games with 200 games, to enter them one by one is not time, it's not time efficient, which is very
Right.
important. And that's the whole point of getting a point of sale and organizing, is to be time efficient. That's the most important thing you can be, because time is so important. And so I do it based on a lot. And I think if your business grows, you're going to learn that you have to tweak it, because
If I
you're not
can,
going to.
I will. Once I figure out an efficient way to do that, then I will, because it kind of like what we were talking about before. The point the it's basically just going to have to come down to me using a different method of keeping track of where I put each shoe. So it'll be that's pretty much what it comes down to. I got to figure out a way to do that, maybe without integrating it into the point of sale system or doing it in a different manner. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think with most people, start out small, okay? If you're not organized at all right now and you're watching this, or you watch this once it goes up as a video, um, and you need some advice, first of all, organize your purchases before anything. I think it's important to get your purchases together, because if you don't, A, you don't know what you're paying for stuff. B, you're going to have a really hard time when you go to file taxes. And if you get to the point where you're filing quarterly and stuff, you're really going to have a hard time. So get your purchases in check, and then get your storage in check next. Those are like two very important things. Once you have your purchases and storage in check, keep tweaking your system. I mean, I've had a system for 3 years now with the point of sale, and I still tweak how I do things all the time. It's good to adapt and change and look and see what other people are doing. There's people that are more efficient than you. I worked as a chef my whole life. The whole goal in the kitchen is efficiency, right? You're trying to build as many dishes and make as many recipes as you can with the limited crew you have. So um, you're constantly tweaking, though, and you learn your process as you go. So build your process slowly. But if you're like a person who just throws stuff on shelves, has no recollection of what things cost, you're hoping you're making profit, you really need to take a step back and build from the foundation, because then that makes your business more scalable once you really start making money. And I think like what you did is a great thing, how you got your shelves, because before that, you were basically just keeping shoes all over the place, right?
Yeah, I organized them essentially by male shoes or female shoes, or men's or women's, and then by color, right? So I had men's shoes on one shelf. Well, there was multiple shelves, but women's shoes over here, men's shoes over here, and then like sneakers and tennis shoes over here. Um, but other than that, the only way that it organized them was by color. It was like, these are brown shoes, these are black shoes. And yeah, I mean, that was it. I was like, well, that's a brown shoe, so I know I have to come over here. And then after that, it was still digging through, trying to find the right shoe, messing things up in the process, and having to reset them back up so that I can fit many shoes on there. And every once in a while, a shoe will fall off the shelf. I'm like, ah, come on. And so yeah, it wasn't terribly efficient, and that's why I spent the $100 for these tubs. And they're not all full. There's a lot of them there that only have a few shoes in it, so they definitely have room to put in more inventory. And a lot of those top black ones up there are empty, other than one of them. No, two of them have big shoes in them, like boots. That's
Okay.
those.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad you changed it, because I think, hey, it looks awesome now. It looks
Yeah,
way better than mine. Granted, all this stuff isn't listed now. I've been working on changing everything I'm doing with eBay, so that's why it's kind of messy, or I would have it sitting kind of neat.
yeah,
Basically, it's all going to get pulled off those shelves. I have a bunch of other shelves set up that are off camera, but it's it's good to be able just to walk in and know exactly where you need to pull something.
yeah.
Every second you spend trying to find something, every second you spend trying to write something in, or you're not using an efficient program, you're wasting time that could be used for something else that's more important for making money. So that's why I say it's really good to take whatever funds you can afford to put into efficiency, whether it be shelving, things to store your tubs in like you did, um, a laser printer, which is much faster for printing things, or even a thermal if you can afford it. Take the money you can put into your business at that time and help make it more efficient, because at the end of the day, people don't realize that actually makes you a lot more money. It really does. The fact that I spend nearly a couple of hours a month, not even a couple hours a month at this point, maybe an hour a month doing my bookkeeping and adding up all my receipts and stuff. And I usually just do that to double check that the report is accurate.
Yeah.
I spend all the extra time making videos and doing, talking to the community. And had I had my original system, I would have been sitting here like, what the hell? I have no idea what I made this month. So,
Yeah, I try
um,
to sit down every week and make sure everything is organized. I mean, sure, I go a week without doing it every once in a while, and I'll do it every 2 weeks. But I do sit there. I do try to do every week um, some organization with my purchases and whatnot, just to make sure everything is in their place at GoDaddy and my business account, things like that. Making sure I'm keeping track of it. Um, this right here is probably the most organized I've ever been ever. I've always been either A, disorganized, or B, organized chaos. And that's organized chaos is like my preferred method. That's what I naturally like to prefer to do. Like kind of like growing up. Well, I had a messy room, but at least I knew where everything was, and then I would clean it, be like, where did I put this thing, right?
for me, I am, when it comes to organization, I'm pretty much like stickler. I'm like an organized freak, and any videos you see in my past offices and stuff, they're really neat. This is the messiest like my office has been in forever, and that's because I have a lot going on and I'm moving a lot of stuff in and out. But um, for me, like it's the number one thing. Like I got those comics in, right? And if you guys are watching, you haven't seen, I got over 3,000 comics for $150. The first day, I had them all stacked in the series they're supposed to be in, right? The second day they're in my office, they're already alphabetically ordered, and tomorrow they're going to be in order by the numbers on the series. And then they're completely organized. And it took only 3 days time to organize over 3,000 units. And that's because like they were sitting in boxes, and I'm like, I can't even deal with this. Like there ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be able to figure out what these sell for unless I
It
organize them.
looks like
So
they take up a lot of space too. I wouldn't be able to do that. That's just too much stuff.
they took up so much space. I don't have any space in my office. It blocked off my entire packing and shipping table. It took two entire fold-out tables, like, what are they, 6, 8 feet, plus a half folding table. Plus, I have some in boxes that are miscellaneous. And I didn't like when I went to pick it up. I'm like, you don't visualize 3,000 as being a lot in your head, right? But then you get there and you see how much it is, and you're like, yeah, that's a lot of comic books for $150. Holy shit. And
Yeah,
like then I loaded my whole entire back seat up, and I'm like, yeah, you can barely see out of my back window. This is quite a bit. And that's just how I've always been. And it's because of kitchen work. I think it's probably the single best asset I have going for organization. That's why I try to help people get a process down, and go check out my old behind the scenes videos where I actually show the process. But for me, it's get stuff in, organize it, get rid of the worthless stuff and put it in bins to be resold in lots for parts. Get it in my point of sale system, photograph it, get it listed is basically last. Obviously, after that, there's a short process for calculating the sale price. Um, Now, we talked about basically our process. I want to talk about resources we use. I mentioned PHP point of sale. I just use that. It's not a cheap plug or something. I don't even talk to those guys anymore. I bought it outright years ago for $100. You mentioned GoDaddy outright, which is the same thing now. Is that free still? Because I used to use outright and it was free. Is
no,
it
it's $9.95 a month.
okay? And see, I figured they would up the price once it was bought out. So I've heard great things about it. How do you like it? Because a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah, I've only had good experiences with it. It keeps track of all of my PayPal. It connects to your PayPal. You can also connect it to bank accounts. I've had trouble with it. I haven't been able to get it to attach to only my business account. What it wants to do whenever I log it in or whenever I sync it is also connect with my personal account, and I can't have that.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why I always use my PayPal card, because it is synced with PayPal. If I use my business card, I have to enter it in manually. My business bank card, I should say. Uh, because if I go and I spend something from my personal bank account, it will put that in the outright, and that might have something to do with my bank, because it's all centralized in one area. Since it's all the same bank, I see all of my accounts there. but I don't know why. I tried to contact my bank and be like, hey, can you separate? I want these to be different logins and whatnot. They wouldn't do it. So,
Oh, mine
anyways,
doesn't do that either, actually. If you make accounts and you want different logins, you have to create it before you make the account. It has something to do with their process for automation, and this happens a lot. When I was a chef, our business had two different business accounts because of that, and our accountant like hated it because for 2 years they had one account with two different accounts on it, and they wouldn't let him separate them. So they actually had to close their accounts and make new ones.
yeah, I
Um,
considered just going to a different credit union, just to make it easier.
um,
But yeah, so that's what I've done. Sometimes you have to go in and categorize it because it won't know what to do with that particular transaction. So you have to go in and be like, oh, this is goods for sale or purchase of goods sold, I think is
mhm.
what it is. Or this was
It's cost of goods
office
sold.
supplies or things like that.
So it scans your transactions from everything if you have it set up right, and then you just categorize them. Basically,
Right.
it's exactly like Outright
Right.
was. And I used it on as an eBay app before. I never connected it to everything. Um, do you know? Like, I want to talk about this really quick. If according to the IRS, if you buy from garage sales, flea markets, and all that, they'll accept handwritten journals, so long as it doesn't look like you wrote them all at one time. If you write down what you purchased, the date, the time, the place, and the price, they'll accept handwritten things. Now,
Yeah.
do you use any apps like when you're out and about to help with accounting, at all, or?
The only one I can think of is what is it called? I want to say Expedia, not Expedia. That's a travel service.
Yeah, is that
Expensify.
Expensify? I've never
Yeah,
heard of
use
that.
Expensify. It
Um,
You can keep track of your mileage via GPS. That's what I use it for primarily. But
okay.
but it has um, other choices too. Like you can um, use where is it? Add. You can scan receipts.
That's
You
cool.
can track your distance, track your time, and other expenses. It'll use your GPS on your phone to figure out how many miles you've traveled, um, and you can put in the amount of gas, the cost of gas in your area. So it'll tell you exactly how much money you spent in gas too.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, you can scan documents or scan receipts and then throw it away, so that way you have it. Um, and you can document time. So if you wanted to time yourself listing things or exactly how much time you're working, you can kind of use it like a timesheet as well.
That's really cool. I'll have to check it out. I
It is
put it on
free.
my notes.
It's a free
Um,
app.
I keep a notebook in my car, and I don't keep it to keep track of handwritten journals and stuff. I write down quick notes of where I bought things and for how much because I have a bad memory. I just do, and I'll forget by the time I get home. And then when I get home, I put it in the point of sale system, and I'll just oftentimes type it out on a sheet and put it into my transaction. So I'll just make a quick sheet for it, or I'll print it up from the point of sale, whatever. Um, but that's cool. And I've heard of apps. Does that app, like when it's calculating your mileage, does it use the GPS feature, or do you have to like hit start and then stop?
You have the option of doing that.
Okay, and I think that's very cool, and that's so much more efficient and easy than it used to be because our
If you
phones
want to
have
keep
that.
track of the mileage yourself via your odometer, you can go in and just put in miles. You can just be like 11.25 miles. Or you can use the GPS feature, then start and stop it. Um, whenever you start driving for the day and whenever you're done, just hit stop and there's your mileage. So it's up to you how you want to do that, and that is Expensify. Go check it
Okay, very cool. Um, to everyone watching, I'm gonna shout you guys out in a second. Thanks so much. If you have questions, leave them, and we'll get to them shortly. Once we get towards the end of the show, we'll answer questions until we're out, basically. So I just want to do a quick shout out. Shout out to Jay, Texas Gal, Raymond, Caesar, Mr. Sadie, also known as Bubba, and Chris B, the Orange Elephant. Thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate it truly. And There's one good question in here that is not related. Well, I guess it's related to organization, but Mr. Sadie asked, I do mostly eBay right now. How do you feel about packaging everything as you list it, as in you package it and then put it on your shelf?
I think that can be a good way of keeping track of things. You don't have to package it up later as long as you know what's in the box.
Yeah.
That's my fear of doing that, because it takes up a little bit more room. Obviously, you'd have to stack boxes, and you can't just put things in a tub or whatever. It'll take up more room whenever you do that. But as long as you keep track of what's in each box and don't get that part messed up, then that can be a very efficient way of doing things.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree. It can be very efficient. Now, there's a few big issues with it. Okay. Like you said, if you somehow forget what's in there, you send the wrong item to someone. That was something that can easily been prevented by packaging later.
Yeah.
The second issue I have with it is depending on what you're selling, if someone buys more than one of those items, then you have to unpackage them and package them together, or you have to charge more for shipping, which I don't like doing. Um, and like in my field, collectibles of any sort, oftentimes people will buy 3 4 video games at a time, 3 4 manuals at a time. If those were packaged already, then I'm put in a position where I have to either charge more for shipping, take the loss, or unpackage them and repackage them, which just costs me money on supplies. So I'm on the fence about it. It depends on how organized you are and what you're selling. If you have the right setup, it can be a great, great asset and make your life so easy because then you just print a label, it's done, right? It's the quickest thing on earth. But I think it's an interesting thought, and I've done it in the past.
Yeah, yeah. It crossed my mind whenever I was doing all this organizational stuff back here. I thought, should I just put them in shoe boxes and kind of do it that way? But I decided I didn't like the idea of something sitting there for 3 months and possibly mislabeling it or grabbing the wrong box because they all look the same, uh, or anything of that nature. I just wanted to be sure that I have the right pair of shoes or whatever it is I'm selling in hand after it sells. So
Is that a Nerf dart?
yes, it is.
That was so random, but
Okay,
I'm like
so yeah, no, it's random, but every time I go to the weigh and pay, I collect Nerf guns, so that I can sell them in lots on eBay because they sell well in lots. But I didn't have any darts, and I found one.
one. That's your go-to dart.
That's
That's
my go-to dart. I can use it to test. I can use it to test my dart. Well, some of them. This is a tag dart. I have to get a regular one.
yeah, that's the one that sticks to your clothes.
But yeah,
Um,
one. I have one tub filled with Nerf guns.
That's awesome. They're worth a lot of money. Like I
Yeah,
said, I bought one at the dollar store, the thrift store for like I think it was $3. I don't have a good memory, so don't
the
quote me on
Vulcan.
that. You can find the video, but it sold for 70 like in a couple of days on Amazon.
Nice.
$70. I was like, dude, this was the best score ever, but I
Was it
never
the
find it
Vulcan
again.
gun you had?
Yeah, the giant Vulcan gun.
Yeah.
And it was missing 4 of the parts. Like it was missing the stand, the barrel drum, everything, right? But someone needed a replacement gun, and I had it,
Yeah.
and it brought
Yeah,
good
like
money.
the other day I found just a bipod. It was a Nerf bipod. I don't even know how I realized it. I was like, oh, it says Nerf on it. What is this? And I didn't even know what it was, and I threw it in my cart.
That goes on the Vulcan gun.
Yeah, and I figured it out later that it was a bipod because I was like, I feel like this is supposed to come out, and then eventually I got it and figured it out, but I didn't realize what it was at first until it did come out, and I was like, oh, that's a bipod.
That gun brand new is $350.
Holy smokes, I did not know that.
It's automated. It's actually a Gatling gun for Nerf. You fill up the barrel drum, and it just shoots fucking things everywhere. Like it's the coolest thing, but it's so expensive.
The other day,
Um,
I saw an ad on Craigslist where the person had a huge lot of Nerf guns, and they weren't selling them; they were renting them for parties. So if you ever
oh,
have a Nerf birthday party or a Nerf event at your birthday party, you can rent all these guns from him, and by the hour or whatever.
that's a cool ass idea. I have connections with Nerf wholesale. I might have to
That's
check
to
that
me,
out.
right? And I was like, holy smokes, that I could compete with this guy with as many Nerf guns as I'm getting.
Yeah, that's really
Like
cool actually, because I actually am.
everyone can walk around with like a primary Nerf gun, and then have like a small one on their waist.
Is
Right?
Nerf Hasbro?
I'm sorry.
Is Nerf Hasbro? Is that
Uh,
the?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure which toy manufacturer makes it, but I know I can get them wholesale. The prices, their wholesale margins are pretty low for the most part, but they sell so fast. Like all their ranks on Amazon are amazing. Um, so the last topic I want to cover before we do questions, which we're making good time right now too, is space saving. I just had a couple things I wanted to mention about it. Obviously, if you can get any kind of plastic tub like George has, or fish tubs, or whatever you can use to stack, you need stackable tubs and stuff. I use them all over the place to stack them on shelves, and they save a ton of space. But something that most people don't think about that you can do. Do you have any fold-out tables, George?
Yes, this one right here. All the shoes are on. I
Okay.
live in a small apartment, so space is really important. This is a table that I can put down and take up as necessary.
Well, I can't show it because my camera's attached to my
You
computer.
stack your
But what?
you stack your tables.
Yeah, I stacked them on top of each other, which a lot no one does actually. But I have tables that are smaller and ones that are larger, and they stack perfectly to make a duo. And I use one of them as my packing area. I put all the boxes and bubble wrap up top, and then I have free space on the bottom.
Yeah,
It's almost like having a wall-mounted shelf, except you don't have the hassle and you can easily pull it down. So
yeah, and that's a
stacking
great
tables is
tip. Use
yeah,
vertical space. That's why I
yes.
got these shelves. They go all the way to the ceiling. Look again, all the way. Um, and it's all in a 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It takes up 2 feet by 7 feet, and that's it. Everything else is vertical.
Yeah, vertical is
So
very important for tight spaces.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
in the restaurant business, our dry storage rooms are just they're upright. Like it doesn't take up a lot of room, but there's shelves that are 10 feet high, and you're climbing on shit to get things
Yeah.
because it's so much more space efficient. Um, is there any other tips about space saving that you've used or you want to use? I just know stacking tables is something a lot of people don't do.
No, nothing I can think of right off the bat. I know I wasn't very clear about what process I use. I completely skipped cleaning and whatnot. Because I was saying I separate everything FBA and everything at eBay. Once I'm listing on eBay, I have all these shoes out right here. These are all ready to clean, and
Oh,
so
okay.
that's everything that I'm either going to be cleaning or going to be taking pictures of. So I go through and I do the light cleaning, heavy cleaning, polishing, whatever it is that I'm going to do. Um, I get that done, and then they still sit there until I take the pictures. That's the next thing that happens is taking pictures. Once I take the pictures, I list them. Once they're listed, they go in these bins. And until they go in these bins, they're just kind of in a few boxes that I have on the
They're in
ground.
shoe
So
purgatory.
yeah, exactly. They're in shoe purgatory, and really, it's more motivation for me to get them listed because they won't be sitting around anymore. They'll be in their assigned spot. So that's what I do with the eBay shoes, and then when they sell, I can just go grab them, package them up, and send them off. And with Amazon, I have everything in a tub that's going to be going in a particular shipment. And once I list it, I try to send out frequent shipments rather than wait and send in large shipments. I don't know. I just feel like that's been working for me. I try to get it up to 50 pounds. Sometimes I only can get up to like 35 or whatever. But so I send in as many shipments as I can. Maybe just a couple boxes rather than a couple of months. Send in 10 boxes or 5 boxes each or whatever. So that's what I do with the Amazon side.
I want to talk about that for a second. This can be off topic, everyone, so I apologize. But since you mentioned it and I thought of it, um, with FBA, like you said, you send in shipments quite a few shipments rather than bulk shipments. I
Uh-huh.
think it's really important to set a date once a month or once every 2 weeks or once a week that you're going to send in a shipment, right? And
Yeah.
then work your ass off to fill enough stuff up to make that shipment worth it. What that does is it gives you a goal in mind. Now you're working to fill that shipment, so you're on a schedule, and then at the end of the day, it'll benefit you because you're getting consistent shipments in and you're working harder to keep them filled. Rather than just sending in a shipment every time you're full, work on filling up when the shipment's supposed to go out. And another piece of advice is if you can drop those shipments off Sunday night or get them out Monday morning, and that gives you all the business days to. I'm assuming most people send UPS, and then it'll get there before the weekend, which is Sunday is a good day for sales in general. But if you wait and ship it like on Friday, it's going to get delayed by the weekend, and
Yeah.
it's not good. So every other Thursday, I do the video, and then I ship that shipment out the following Monday. So twice a month on Mondays, I send out FBA shipments, and the goal is to make those worth it. But whether or not I have a lot of product, I send it out because it's consistent. And you save a lot of money by shipping more stuff at once because their UPS rates are great.
Yeah, they are. Um, yeah, like if you have like a 25-pound package, they're going to charge you for 33. So try to fit as much as you can in there. Sometimes you can't help it because they won't want this particular product to go to that warehouse. So sometimes there's nothing you can really do about it. But I kind of do the same thing. I source all week and then I try to get the shipment out. And yeah, that's what I'll source. I'll source all week, hit that weigh and pay as much as I can. Maybe go to a few thrift stores for FBA. But I keep finding even shoes at the weigh and pay. So that's where I'm going almost every single time the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're killing it at the weigh and pay. I know like everyone used to call the Gilmans like the king of the weigh and pay. I know they don't deal with it much now because they switched to private label.
Yeah.
But dude, like every day you're posting like all this shit you find at the weigh and pay, and I'm just like, I'm thinking about getting a house next to the weigh and pay. I'm not even kidding. I'm just like, I'm
It's
just gonna
only,
move next door. I don't.
I'm only like 5 minutes away, and to be honest, they have a ton of books there, and I don't really deal with them much because I feel like it's a waste of time for me to sit there and scan and scan and
Well, get a
scan.
scan fob, and it won't. It's instant.
Well, that's not the point. I mean, I can sit there, yeah, I can, but I'm talking about the actual process of scanning every single book that I can. Um,
Well, I mean, books are good money, and Amazon's the #1 book retailer in the world.
uh, but I'm finding so much better ROI on other stuff. I don't waste my time with the books.
All right, that's fair. You found enough stuff that you can argue that. I mean, some people, I just feel like if you get to the point where you're there that much, just invest in the scan fob and take books and everything else you can find, or get a partner, right? And have them scan all the books while you're finding all the other stuff.
Right there you go. If I'm not finding things in the bins, then yeah, I'll go check out the books. But the books are always there, and I can just go scan them at any point in time. But the way I process the weigh and pay, the books don't really fit in until I'm done and I've got everything. But usually by that time, I'm tired and I don't want to go scan the books anymore. I just want to go home and get it all sorted out. Mike, are you still with us? Okay, I think we lost connection with Mike. I'll go over here to the uh, question, the comment place. If anybody has any questions, just go ahead and throw them out. Thanks for visiting us. I know Texas Gal, you've been pretty active in the comment feed. Um, Mr. Sadi, thanks for being active there, guys. Yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll get that out there. We'll try to answer. Alrighty. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope we're kind of going in a good direction. If you guys have any, I'm not sure if I'm even still here. If you guys have any suggestions for future shows, just let me know, and we'll try to get it out. We've got plenty of time and plenty of subject matters to hit. We're gonna try to get some guests on the show, for you guys to enjoy and kind of talk to. We can get some more points of views, and that's it. So I hope you guys have a good night, and thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Oh, hopefully you all can see me. I lost George and my internet. But we're going to answer questions once George gets back in here. I apologize for that. I'm here. I'll answer questions. George,
What's up?
it says we're live with everyone here. My internet dropped, of course.
Oh,
So I apologize to everyone watching. The video says it's not live, but maybe I need to refresh. Is it live or no?
yeah, it says it's live on my end.
All right, cool. So I hope it's working. Yeah, George, when it goes down, don't bail, dude.
Oh, I didn't bail.
Oh, did it just kick you out?
I kept talking. You didn't come back, but we were nearing the end of the show, so I went ahead and closed it.
Oh yeah, just keep it open. It'll stay open. I wanted to answer questions. Everyone always asks questions, so don't want to leave them hanging. I just want to make sure they can see
Yeah,
us first.
I went back and looked for questions. I didn't see any, and I asked for people to post questions, and nobody did.
Oh, okay.
He didn't answer a question. I didn't see a question.
Uh, yeah, everyone said you
Oh, I
bailed on
see.
them.
It says, tell us about your tattoo.
All right. Right here. I'm looking at the older ones first. Guys, I'm thinking about putting in my 2 weeks at my job. At this point in time, are you able to pay your bills just on this? Well, George isn't full time. He does this as a side business, right? You're an EMT. And I do this full time since last October. So yeah, I pay my bills every month by doing this full time. It's a full time job. It's a lot of work. There's times it's stressful. There's times where I'm not making enough money and I'm worried about my bills. But at the end of the day, if you hustle and you try hard enough, you can make it work. You really can. Find your niche and make it work. Honestly, it's the best decision of my life. I would rather struggle paying my bills working for myself than being rich working for someone else because I just can't stand watching someone else prosper so much from my hard work. I'd rather try my hardest and make it happen for myself. George, do you have any like future aspirations going full time or
Absolutely. I want to work for myself. I don't want to work for the man anymore.
the man, the evil man?
Yeah, exactly. Um, I mean, I like what I do, but it's a lot of work for not a lot of pay, and I'd rather, if I'm gonna do hard work, I want it to be for me,
Yeah.
not someone else.
Hammer asked, have you guys tried any liquidators? I'm working on something liquidation wise really big right now. Wholesale liquidators and liquidators are nearly the same thing. A lot of times, just it's basically the same thing. They just use different names. Wholesale liquidators tend to have more new products, whereas liquidators will sell anything they can get bulk. I know you've purchased pallets before, right, George?
Only once, and to be honest, I didn't particularly like it.
It's a lot of work if you get miscellaneous pallets. You have to sort them, get that all listed. You got to deal with all the merchandise. Some of it might not work, so you have to test everything. A lot of times it's store returns, and it's a big pain in the ass. I am connected to some really good liquidators for new products, which I'm working on, and I'll talk about in the future. I know everyone's waiting for the wholesale website. I'm working on it, I promise. And someone put hashtag no man left behind.
That's
That's
great. Well,
really funny.
I guess we're back.
That's really funny.
I don't know what's gonna be recorded on the show, but
All right. And then
it'll be
Chris
like
is
me
asking
saying, "Okay,
about,
guys, everybody, all have a good night," and then 10 minutes later, we're still talking.
Chris is asking about vapor cigarettes. I don't like Chris. Are you asking if we smoke them or we sell them, or you like what are you asking? I have no idea. I don't smoke. I have no aspirations to smoke anything. It's not my thing. I don't do any of that crap. I don't know if George, you don't smoke, right?
Um, yes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Socially, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But
I used to smoke
have you tried
cigarettes socially,
e-cigarettes?
and I do e-cig now.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's not my thing. I know a lot of people do it. So, and yeah, you're right. There's not many questions. So the last call right now, and then we're ending right on time, actually, after the blackout.
Someone asked about the tattoo that I have. It's a scuba diving flag. It's international sign for scuba diving or flag.
You dive?
I love diving. It's very, very awesome activity. Being underwater is like being in another world, and it's amazing. If you can get around to doing it or have the money to go through the training, absolutely do it. It's a great life experience.
Chris said he was talking about selling e-cigarettes. Honestly, I have no idea about the market. I know they're popular, but it's also very flooded, like cell phone cases and all these other things people try and sell. It's not a good market to be in probably until it kind of settles back down. Once things are popular, the market gets flooded and then it evens out. So I don't get into stuff like that. Cell phone cases. I get questions about cell phone cases all the time. Don't go in the cell phone case market. You're not going to make any money. Super low margins, super high quantity, and it's so competitive. Like, why would you want to get in that market? Just because they're cheap per unit doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money. Unless you're selling like otter boxes or something, and you're not going to get those unless you get permission to sell them. But thanks everyone for watching. I truly appreciate it. Sorry about the blackout, and we'll see you guys next Sunday.